101 at ringside. This is Smackdown, and we are continuing the road to WrestleMania. And on that road, in tonight's main event, we have got a match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It is going to be the champions with Shield defending those championships against John Cena and Daniel Bryan. However, last Sunday at the Rumble, Daniel Bryan actually eliminated John Cena from that contest. So you got to ask the question, has that elimination damaged the relationship between John Cena and Daniel Bryan? Or is it going to be normal service and both these guys on the same page? We'll find out in tonight's main event. However, their opponents, who are definitely on the same page, one solid unit collectively known as the Shield, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, who are the tag team champions, and not forgetting the WWE champion Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins leaving the Rumble, still the WWE champion, defeating both CM Punk and Kevin Nash in one of the best triple threat matches we have seen in quite some time. And speaking of triple threat matches, that is exactly what we are kicking off tonight's show with. We have got a triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship. It is going to be the champion Dolph Ziggler defending that championship against both Ryback and Cesaro. So this should be a great way to kick off this evening's action. Ziggler, the champion, facing two challengers. Any long-time viewers will be well aware about how this match has come about. Dolph Ziggler and Ryback were feuding over the championship last year, actually facing off at the Backlash pay-per-view. In that contest, Ziggler was successfully retaining this championship. However, after that match, Ryback, being the sore loser that he is, attacking Ziggler, sending Ziggler headfirst into that steel ring post, and because of that, Ziggler suffered a concussion, which actually resulted in Ziggler missing several months of in-ring action. Smackdown General Manager Mick Foley not exercising his right to strip Ziggler of that championship, so despite Ziggler's downtime, Ziggler remained the United States Champion. Made his return very recently, which then reignited the feud between Ziggler and Ryback. However, last week on Smackdown, it was Ryback versus Cesaro in a one-on-one contest, and in that contest, Ziggler distracted Ryback at ringside, resulting in a win for Cesaro. Therefore, in the interest of fairness, Smackdown GM Mick Foley making this match a triple threat match, adding Cesaro into the mix. So, Ziggler, Cesaro, Ryback, one of these men will be leaving SmackDown the United States Champion. The odds certainly don't favour the champion. All three of these men, great superstars in their own right. Cesaro in the red trunks, facing up with Ryback with Ziggler from behind. And now, what are we seeing? We are seeing a tag team manoeuvre there by Ziggler and Ryback, something we certainly didn't think we'd be seeing in this one. Because as I said before, these two have had quite the heated rivalry. Will that rivalry end this evening? Possibly. Again, Cesaro defeating Ryback last week with a little help from Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler, certainly the most popular superstar in this contest. Ryback, certainly the most hated. And then Cesaro, somewhere in the middle. But not only are we seeing great action in this contest, we've also got other matches lined up this evening which are going to deliver just as good, if not better action, because after this match, we're going to be seeing Bad News Barrett facing off against Big E Langston. Bad News Barrett had a fantastic showing Sunday at the Rumble, was actually in the final two, and the final SmackDown participant in that match. Obviously, the win in that match eventually going to HBK, who is a Raw superstar. Though, more on Bad News Barrett in just a little while, because not only that, we have got a great main event. Again, as we said at the top of the show, for the Tag Team Championships, it is going to be the SmackDown Tag Team Champions facing off against the team collectively known as the Yes Nation. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose taking on Daniel Bryan and John Cena. But the crowd are thoroughly enjoying this opening contest, as am I. Ziggler though, the famous up, taking Big Hungry down, but not taking advantage because Cesaro there, the uppercut, getting involved again. The only way to win this match is by pin or submission. Whilst this match isn't billed as no disqualification match, because of the championship implications, this match basically is a no disqualification match, because you are seeing now Ryback with those heavy steel steps. Now Ziggler, the champion, fighting back, drop kicking them stairs into the face of Ryback. Again, the crowd thoroughly enjoying this one, fully behind Dolph Ziggler. Cesaro now. Northern Light suplex on the outside of the ring, taking Dolph Ziggler down the hard way, picking the champion back to his feet. Ziggler, though, has been here before, knows what it takes to get the job done. Like we said previously, Ziggler's previous title defense was way back at Backlash when he defeated Ryback with that roll-up. A surprise victory possibly, considering the damage Ryback has caused in recent months. However, Ryback not successful in that contest, so Ryback will certainly be looking to do a bit better this evening, looking to leave the US champion. The two men now face to face. Cesaro in the mix as well. These two heavy blows back and forth. Ziggler there at the elbow. Now Cesaro. Oh, Ziggler a bit groggy. Cesaro now taking advantage. A neutralizer. And Ryback groggy as hell at the side. This could be Cesaro's opportunity. We could be looking at a new United States champion. Referee a little bit slow getting to the count, finally does, and a long 2 count. Cesaro only 1 second away there. Ryback saving the match. Cesaro and Ryback now trading blows. The elbows to Cesaro. Cesaro with a big shoulder, and Ziggler with a super kick. The super kick to the chin of Cesaro. Cesaro's down and out. And now Ryback back to his feet. Ziggler with some kind of roll up. 1, 2, 3, and from nowhere, Ziggler getting the 1, 2, 3 on Ryback. Ryback is not going to be happy with that one. A great showing by all three men. However, the victory going to Dolph Ziggler. We saw great action in that contest. There is going to be more great action to come. Ziggler with a huge win, leaving Smackdown still United States champion. Backstage now, the challengers, the former tag team champions who are going to be facing the Shield in tonight's main event. However, up next, we have got Bad News Barrett taking on Big E Langston. So, Sunday at the Rumble, Bad News Barrett was the final SmackDown participant in that match before the eventual winner, Raw's Shawn Michaels. Bad News Barrett has been bragging all week how he was the final SmackDown superstar in the Rumble. And despite this man's arrogance, you cannot deny he is a great athlete, but you have got to give the guy some credit. Surviving 28 other men is no mean feat, and to lose to the eventual winner HBK, there is no shame in that. So it really was a great achievement for Bad News Barrett to be the runner-up in this year's Rumble. However, tonight, Barrett issuing the open challenge, Big E Langston accepting. So now Big E taking on Bad News Barrett with nothing but pride on the line. We touched on it moments ago, but Bad News Barrett, because of that run in the Rumble, is full of confidence. And I spoke to Barrett backstage earlier today, and Barrett has assured me and assured the higher-ups in the WWE he has got all the tools to get the job done. And Barrett has said he wants to be the very first British-born WWE World Champion. So that is the goal that Barrett has set himself. Will Barrett get that goal? Easier said than done, because we've got a lot of great superstars on the SmackDown roster, not to mention a great WWE champion. That champion, of course, Seth Rollins, who is still champion despite the huge match he faced last Sunday, because as we know, it was Seth Rollins taking on Kevin Nash, taking on CM Punk in a triple threat match for Rollins' WWE Championship. And for the third successive pay-per-view, Rollins defying the odds, leaving once again the WWE champion. The champion, much like Bad News Barrett, full of confidence backstage today. However, that confidence soon turned into anger, because backstage today there was an altercation between Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan and John Cena, because with challengers in tonight's main event, Cena and Bryan have declared they want a shot at Seth Rollins' WWE Championship. Seth Rollins telling both superstars that would not be happening. However, ultimately that choice will be coming down to SmackDown General Manager Mick Foley, because we are only 3 weeks from the next pay-per-view, that pay-per-view being Bad Blood. As it stands, there is no opponent for Seth Rollins on that show, and keeping in mind his previous 2 opponents, Kevin Nash and CM Punk, are both currently Raw superstars. There is a great opportunity for a SmackDown superstar to face Rollins at that show, so will the opportunity go to Daniel Bryan, John Cena, or maybe another SmackDown superstar? Who knows, maybe even Bad News Barrett. Again, that ultimately will come down to Mick Foley. But back in this one, we are witnessing a second match of great action. Sending Big E across the ring, big boot to the jaw. Big E, one of many great former NXT talents that has recently made his appearance on Smackdown. And speaking of NXT, we had a match at the Rumble for the vacant NXT Championship. It was Adrian Neville taking on Sami Zayn. And what a match we saw on Sunday. Those two guys leaving everything in the ring, full of respect for each other. In the end, Sami Zayn coming out victorious. Zayn leading the Rumble, the new NXT champion. So much like Zayn and Adrian Neville, Big E, a former NXT superstar, and again, much like many of the superstars on the SmackDown roster, full of potential, and has surely got a huge future here in the WWE. That huge future could be accelerated if he can get a win over Bad News Barrett. However, Bad News Barrett there, reversing that finisher attempt, and now Big E in the corner. The clubbing blows by Bad News Barrett, going for the third one, not connecting. Big E now sending Barrett into the corner. Big E signaling the end could be near, going for that huge shoulder thrust, not connecting. Barrett reversing that shoulder thrust into the DDT. What a manoeuvre by Bad News Barrett. And the runner-up to this year's Royal Rumble is certainly showing his mean streak this evening. You can see now the knees. Those vicious knees to the face of Big E Langston. And now the big boot. Dropping Big E outside of the ring like he was a piece of trash. And now the English-born Bad News Barrett calling Big E to his feet. And he connects with it. The bull hammer to the jaw of Big E Langston. If Barrett hit that move inside of the ring, that would be a guaranteed victory. However, Barrett hitting the bull hammer on the outside of the ring, so Barrett is now going to get Big E back into the ring and attempt that cover. That is exactly what we are seeing. But Big E showing some signs of life, surprisingly. But that sign of life is about to be put out because Barrett there with the wasteland. A ferocious wasteland to Big E Langston. If the bull hammer wasn't enough, the wasteland was certainly the exclamation point. This one certainly over. Referee counting the 3. Barrett continuing his successful run on SmackDown. Not only was Barrett the runner-up in this year's Royal Rumble, he has got a massive victory this evening, defeating the very promising Big E Langston. Barrett has got his sights set firmly on becoming the first English WWE champion, and Bad News Barrett, like him or not, is on a fantastic run of form, which is certainly going to be some bad news for the rest of the SmackDown roster. However, I am here. We've got to go backstage because there has been an incident and John Cena has been found unconscious by SmackDown General Manager Mick Foley. And speaking of bad news, that is certainly going to be some bad news for John Cena's tag team partner Daniel Bryan, because up next we were scheduled to have the main event for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And I'm actually hearing now this match is going to be going ahead. However, due to John Cena's situation, this match will now be a handicap match. However, will still be for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So this match is now a 2-on-1 match. However, if Daniel Bryan can overcome the odds and defeat both Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, then the team of John Cena and Daniel Bryan will still be the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. However, a handicap match, never easy, especially against two excellent superstars, in which Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns certainly are. The Shield and the Yes Nation have had quite a few in recent memory. They've exchanged the Tag Team Championships on at least one occasion. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, the current champions. Daniel Bryan and John Cena, the former Tag Team Champions. John Cena and Daniel Bryan recently losing those Tag Team Championships back to the Shield at the Judgment Day pay-per-view 2 months ago. This match this evening was scheduled to be the rematch for John Cena and Daniel Bryan. However, due to whatever has happened backstage to John Cena, as we've said, this match is now a handicap match. However, still for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Nice double team maneuver there by Ambrose and Reigns, and despite the early flurry and a surprising amount of offense by Daniel Bryan, he's now finding himself in a bit of trouble. Let's quickly go back to the Rumble on Sunday, which all 3 of these men were part of. During that match, despite being part of a tag team, John Cena and Daniel Bryan actually came face to face. Ultimately, Daniel Bryan eliminated the former 15-time world champion. That obviously didn't go down too well but whether or not that has affected the relationship between these two remains to be seen, because again, John Cena isn't part of this match, as we are seeing. However, Roman Reigns just hit the Superman punch moments ago. The writing could be on the wall. This one could be close to coming to an end, despite only being in the opening stages of this contest. Roman Reigns continuing this assault on one half of the former tag team champions and the current tag team champions now, Ambrose and Reigns. Showing that tag team prowess, know exactly what it takes to be a great tag team, and they are showing that here this evening. We still await news on what actually happened to John Cena backstage, but it's pretty clear there has been some form of attack, as that attack come at the hands of the Shield, Ambrose, Reigns, even Rollins. Hopefully we will be finding out. However, that attack has left Daniel Bryan in a critical situation, because this match, which should have been a tag team match, is now nothing but a glorified handicap match. Ambrose there with a Luther's press, right hand after right hand, and Daniel Bryan finding himself in a world of trouble, certainly missing that tag team partner to tag in and take some of this offense. And Ambrose there continuing his maneuvers with a spike DDT. And you've got to say, despite this main event not being the advertised main event, we have seen some great back and forth action. Daniel Bryan certainly given everything he could possibly give so far in this match. But time and time again, Ambrose and Reigns with that numbers advantage, regaining control anytime Daniel Bryan gets any form of momentum behind him. And now Bryan in the ropes. Ambrose there, the disrespectful slaps to Bryan. Rope to rope. And the drop kick. The drop kick to the chest of arguably the most popular superstar on the entire SmackDown roster. Ambrose calling for the end. Calling for that big knee. Going for the knee, not connecting. Dean Ambrose missing that knee. Daniel Bryan now could be Bryan's opportunity, but has Bryan got anything left in the tank? He certainly has now. The comeback by Bryan. What a sequence by Daniel Bryan, taking Dean Ambrose down. This is Bryan's chance. The yes kicks, the repeated kicks to the chest of Dean Ambrose. And the final kick to the head. The crowd are electric, firmly behind Daniel Bryan. The crowd now going insane. Everybody's chanting yes in the arena. Daniel Bryan setting up for that single leg running knee, going for it and connects. But wait, Roman Reigns in the ring. Roman Reigns spearing Daniel Bryan out of his boots. The illegal man Roman Reigns into the ring, spearing Daniel Bryan. Dean Ambrose now crawling to Daniel Bryan, picking up the scraps. And thanks to the illegal man Roman Reigns, the Shield somehow, some way, by hook or by crook, remain the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Reigns hitting that spear after Bryan had almost certainly put Dean Ambrose down for the 1-2-3. Daniel Bryan giving everything he could possibly give, but in the end the numbers game was just too much. We still await news on what exactly happened to John Cena backstage. It's looking like we won't know what happened until next week on the show. And what is this? The WWE Champion Seth Rollins now. And Rollins now taking advantage of an already down Daniel Bryan. A giant curb stomp. The crowd are not happy. And bad news for Daniel Bryan. That might not be the end of it, because now all three members of the Shield in the ring. And now Bryan's going for the ride. The triple powerbomb by the Shield. Ambrose and Reigns, the tag team champions. Seth Rollins, the WWE champion. The Hounds of Justice still in firm control of SmackDown, and have now sent a clear message to the rest of the SmackDown roster. This has been 101 at Ringside, and I'll see you all next week with another dose of SmackDown.